everyone, and welcome to the Levantex podcast. I'm Sophie Ghaziri, your host, and I have a wonderful guest with me today. A lot of you know her from social media. You can find her on Instagram at Law with Diane. So Diane Assaf is with us today, and she is going to be highlighting all of the different things that have happened over the last couple of weeks and since the August 4th blast. I'm so excited to be talking to her today because I have a lot of questions I'd want to put to her, even though she has gone in detail into IGTV and videos on Instagram. But I have a couple of questions that I would like to put to her and we'd like to get some answers to. So Diane, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi, Sophie. Thank you for having me.
Diane, I want to start. Let's get in here fast and quick. Now we're all running low on time, and you are so busy. So I'm so glad you've made the time to join us today. But tell us a little bit about yourself and why you actually started your Instagram channel.
Yes, so I'm a Lebanese lawyer. I was born and raised in Beirut. Both my parents are lawyers, so I guess this influenced a bit my decision to pursue my law degree at USG. I then went to Paris, did a master's there, and I worked in a French law firm in Paris. And then I went to London, briefly worked in an American law firm. Then I decided to come back to Beirut to pass the Beirut Bar exam to be able to work at my father's law firm. At first, it was challenging. Being a woman in this field is not easy. I wasn't taken seriously, especially in court. So I think I tried to pave my way, and I tried to impose myself. And I was finally being able to, enjoy the, the client meetings, the court hearings, the research. And I was satisfied. And every time I'd win a case, I was feeling fulfilled. But then the tragic crisis, monetary, political, economic, financial, humanitarian crisis hit alongside with COVID. And things slowed down dramatically, and hearings were postponed, everything was delayed. And I really felt like I was not being impactful anymore. And I thought I had a role to play in this chaos. And especially that I've always, explained legal topics to my friends and family. And I like the lack of awareness hit me, even regarding the most basic rights, and the most basic legal issues. And even among educated people don't know what their basic rights and obligation are, and they don't understand what's being talked about in the news. So I thought, why not take my knowledge public and try to make a difference in this field, especially that I try to treat my subjects in a legal point of view and an objective point of view. So this is my way of trying to spread awareness. So this is how I decided to start the Law with Diane.
Diane, that's absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that you did start that, and it's really having an impact on the people, and you are getting a lot of virality with your videos. Because a lot of people really need to know what is going on. Now, I want to talk about something I think that is near and dear to your heart, and I think it's something that we all need to talk about. There have been some progression, shall we say, in the Beirut blast investigation. You had Judge Fadi Sawan, indicting or bringing people to justice. There has been several arrests. I'm sure you can elaborate on this for us and tell us what this means. But I think we need to start with the fact that and pay our respects to a very good friend of yours that was a victim of the Beirut blast, who was murdered by our ruthless ruling class. And I remember you saying to me that her mother recently said to you, the only thing that hurts me, not just the loss of my daughter, is the fact that people will not be held accountable for what has happened. So how do you feel about that? And what do you think is happening? And is this process and progression that's taking place actually leading somewhere?
Okay, so first, few words about Christelle. Christelle El Adem was a very good friend of mine. She was full of life. She loved life. She was witty and very well educated. And she decided, to leave behind her career in banking in Geneva and in Paris because she thought she had a role to play in Beirut, in her community, and she wanted to be around her family. So, when she was assassinated on August 4, while in her apartment in Jemaise, it's so unfair. And I thought like justice had to be done and has to be done. And as you mentioned, her mom told me that the one thing that hurts her the most, other than the fact that she will not be living, with her daughter for the rest of her life, is the fact that she might never see justice and accountability. So, what has been done so far, and is it enough? It's not enough. It will never be enough. It will not be enough until effective and independent justice is rendered. But things, Sophie, things are moving. They are moving slowly, but they are moving. So, what has been done so far? First of all, you have Judge Fadi Sawan, the investigating judge, who has charged more than 30 people and who has arrested 25. I know they're not high-ranked officials, but it's a start. He also has asked Parliament to investigate 10 ex-ministers. Why has he asked Parliament to do so? Because members of Parliament and ministers, they have a special court that can hold them accountable for their action. And obviously, this court hasn't held anybody accountable so far, and in my opinion, will never hold anyone accountable. And the proof is that Speaker Nabih Berri declined the letter of Judge Sawan. So what did Judge Sawan do? He said, "Okay, you decline my letter. I will go after them directly, and I will consider that the ministers fall under my jurisdiction." So he charged caretaker Prime Minister Hassan Diab and three ministers, which I think is a very, very courageous decision. And this is how court decisions should be rendered, and this is how things should be done. The problem is that the law should be above all, and there should be no red lines here. We can't go on in this mentality that the president is a red line and that the prime minister is a red line and that the speaker is a red line. Because if all of these people are red lines, then who murdered? Why did this explosion happen? Because of the Lebanese people? Second, the politicians should lead by example. When there's a court decision that charges a politician and that asks him to be investigated, he should go to court. He cannot defend himself neither in his house nor in the media. He cannot defend himself outside of the courtroom. And this is what shocked me the most, is that ex-minister Hariri, when Hassan Diab was charged, he paid him a visit. These two guys, they are totally opposites in politics. They don't agree on anything. But when, quote, the prime minister position is attacked, they unite in the name of religion against justice and against the judiciary. I don't understand what does religion have to do in all this. Religion has to be left alone. Religion should be, in the homes and not in the judiciary.
Now, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things because you brought up some really interesting points. One, I'm not defending anybody here because I feel like everybody that was in power should be held accountable. And do you think it fair that Hassan Diab, the caretaker prime minister, was the first prime minister to be called upon, What about Hariri himself? What about the rest of them and all the other ministers in power that could have necessarily have done something previously to, if this has technically been there for 13 years, as they've put it, you know, all of those people that were in power for the last 13 years. ليش وقفت على Hassan Diab? I want you to clarify that, because again, I believe Hassan Diab has a part to play, and I'm not saying he is not a player in this game. He is a definite player in this game, but it's not all his responsibility. So that's one thing that I would like your opinion on, to see how you feel about that. And two, mentioning the fact that religion plays such a large hand in our political wrangling, shall we put it. How is the judiciary going to be able to segregate itself from both politics and religion? Because in order for us to have an independent Lebanese judiciary, I'm sure you will agree, these two factors cannot play a hand. So the floor is yours, Diane.
True. So for the first part of your question, we are not the judges, and we cannot keep on discussing the court decisions and what do we think of them, and if this person should apply the court decisions, yes or no. This is the thing. We should all be under the law, and we should all obey to the justice decisions. That's one thing. Second thing, so like if the politicians don't abide, with the justice system, how are they leading by example, and what kind of example are they showing the people? If, for example, a journalist or an activist will be charged and asked to be investigated, why would he go if if the politician doesn't go? So we have, like, the investigation, Sophie, is private. We don't know what's happening. If he thinks he has reasons to charge or arrest or investigate this person, then he should be able to do it. And we can't be like, no, you start with this guy first, and then my turn will come. So that's one thing. And then why Hassan Diab? Well, in a murder, I don't want to charge anyone, and I don't want to, because I'm not a judge here, but there is, the people who bought the ammonium nitrate. There are the people who carried them to the port. There are the people who not all the people are responsible on the same level. There are people who are responsible maybe for detonating the ammonium nitrate. There are people for negligence, for recklessness. So not all people are on the same level and are charged on the same level. We don't know. We should just obey by the court decisions. That's one thing. The other thing, you were asking me about the judiciary system in Lebanon. So yes, and the political interference. So first of all, we have the High Judicial Council, which is a council who's in charge of ensuring the well-functioning of the judiciary, of the court hearings and everything related to independence and transparency. Now, this council appoints the judges, okay? He says, like, for example, this judge should be in Babda, looking over the commercial stuff. This judge should be in Sur, looking over the commercial or criminal or civil or whatever. So the problem is that even with an excellent president of the council, Suhail Aboud, and excellent members, the problem is that these appointments and these lists are not enforceable other than by the government and by the president's signature. So now, what's happening now is we're stuck because on this list made by this High Judicial Council, who is, who has very good judges and everything, he appoints the judges and their positions and their fields, but there's, a loophole because it doesn't satisfy this person or this party. So now we're stuck, and it is not being implemented and enforced because this judge wasn't, he was downgraded instead of, no, you needed to put him up, to upgrade him. So we're stuck, and this is dramatic for the judiciary, because what is a country if if it doesn't have appointments and the well functioning of the judiciary? How can you fight corruption if it's not with these appointments? Second thing, and very important thing, is that the judges, even if they're like good and honest judges, I've been working for more than 10 years in Lebanon, and let me tell you, there are excellent judges. And when politics is not involved, if me and you have an issue, we go to court, they will judge upon very objective criteria. They will like study the case very well, and they will render very honest decision. But the problem is when politics is involved, and when political party is involved, and when a minister or an MP is involved. Here everything changes, because if a judge renders, because this high judicial council is like 8 out of 10 members are appointed by the government, so indirectly the judges are appointed by the government. So if a judge renders this decision that doesn't fulfill the political party X or Y, instead of being upgraded and thanked for in a democratic country, he will be punished and neutralized, and he will be downgraded. Let's say, for example, he's a general prosecutor in Beirut. Because he rendered a decision against this political party, he will be, for example, downgraded to being like an advisor in, let's say, Nabatiye, and with all due respect to Nabatiye. So judges don't want this, and judges want to they want their promotion and they want to evolve. So they're stuck between satisfying the political class and this oligarchy, or render honest and objective decisions.
Yeah,
And
they're basically stuck
here,
between a rock and a hard place, shall we say, and they feel hopeless. And even these judges that have been on this list that don't necessarily get the president's signature, what do? They just sit at home waiting for some decision to be
for
taken?
example, you have like tens of freshly graduated judges who are just waiting to be appointed somewhere. So this is very unhealthy, and this is like dramatic. And I just remembered a story about, like, I have a friend of mine, she's a judge, and she's at the beginning of her career, and she's honest and full of life. And I was next to her, and like there was someone who called her to ask her to gently take care of his case, and she was like, "Are you seriously asking me to take care of this?" No, but I don't know if all the judges have the courage and to do it. So
She actually stood up to an MP who was trying to sway the decision, shall we say?
politically person. Yes,
Did
exactly.
did
He felt ashamed.
oh,
He felt
there we go.
ashamed, and he hung up.
He hung
So if
up.
all the judges had this, all the judges had this, this immunity, we would be in a much better place. I would like also to emphasize on another point, that the financial of the judiciary is not independent, meaning that its budget is allocated by the Ministry of Justice. You can clearly see that neither, like the judiciary is neither administratively nor financially independent. And yes, a law here has to be passed, definitely. It has to enable this council, this High Judiciary Council, to be able to appoint these judges, and and be enforceable just by being appointed by this council, not by the politics. This would remove the political manipulation of the judiciary and its interference.
And maybe, does it always have to be signed by the president?
Yeah, so no, in the law, it shouldn't be signed by the president anymore. The appointments should be made on objective criteria, based on competence, and not based on how loyal you are to a political party. And the more loyal to a political party, the higher the rank you get. So the appointments, and these appointments are the base of our judiciary system, of a healthy judiciary system, is that they should be transparent and objective and based on competence and not based on religious or political affiliation. So this is the key to a healthy and not corrupted society.
Now, I just want to ask you a question. You know, we saw a change in the Beirut Bar Association when Melhem Khalaf was elected to head it. You know, and a lot of people saw that as a really large gain for the lawyers, for the bar, for the judiciary system in Lebanon in general. And the reason this being is because finally it was probably left up to the lawyers themselves to be able to make this decision. And as you just said, it was done on transparency and credibility and possibly, you know, the weight that that man was carrying in order to make the right decisions, unbiased decisions, and you know, put things back on track. Now, okay, we've seen this change. That's great. We're all happy that this has happened because he every time things have gone wrong in the country or wrongful arrests have taken place, he has been the one to speak up. But is this an olive branch that's just being given to the people to say, or the lawyers per se, to say, here you go, you can have this, but you can't really have anything else. We're just going to choke you out with a budget from the Ministry of Justice to make sure you can't do anything, which they've done with the people per se. You know, they've choked our bank accounts. They're making sure we can't even, we're so busy worried about our basic needs that we can't even consider all of the different things that are taking place in the country and what kind of player we can be or driver that we can be in creating some form of change, because everybody's wondering where they're going to next then their next dollar is coming from in order, well, like, not even say dollar anymore, their next lira is coming from in order to make sure that their children have got food on the table. So I think this strategy is being used a lot by the oligarchy. They tend to like to choke out, and it's usually based on monetary things. So them having the budget and control of the budget for for the Lebanese judiciary is a bit scary in the sense that, okay, that's wonderful. We're seeing some changes, but are they just so superficial that nothing ever really is going to happen?
So no, we cannot think this way. We cannot think that nothing will ever really will ever happen. Back to Malhem Khalaf. As you mentioned, like before his election, no lawyer has ever in the modern history of the Beirut Bar Association dreamt of having a president of the Beirut Bar Association who was not affiliated to any political party. And more than this, usually when if you want to run for the president of the Beirut Bar Association, like the custom wants that you are first a member of its of the association. Melhem Khalaf just came, wasn't a member, and because people were fed up and are fed up, he was elected at the head of the Beirut Bar Association, and I think he is doing a great job. He is speaking up for all the human rights violations. He is using his voice. He is raising his voice. This is the thing he does, and this is what should be done. You know, he stands outside of prisons when anti-government protesters are held in. He speak up. He also launched an initiative, to build a country. He is doing everything that is in his power to bring change. And there's also the Lebanese Judge Association, which is an association that was created and established a few years ago. That where like 500 around 500 members are part of this association. And this association is here to support the judiciary, to support its independence and its transparency. And these people are doing a very good job. They have a Facebook page, by the way, where you can consult it, and they enlighten people on what the role of the judiciary is, because there's not a clear understanding of, people talk about qada, and in this page you can read like, now it's the role of this judge to look after this thing. Every time there's manipulation or something, with the corruption, they enlighten it. So these judges are also doing a good job. Now for the changes, we cannot go, okay, you know what, let's play the blame game. Nothing's going to change. I'm losing hope. We cannot do this because even if it's justified, we cannot play this blame game because it's not going to get us anywhere. And there's no like magician who's going to come and, turn Beirut and turn Lebanon into a better place to live in overnight. So we have to initiate change and we have to take initiatives. And a lot of people are doing so. And a lot of, NGOs, a lot of individuals. And I think we should start by, like every person should look around and see which field he has the most knowledge in, and he should bring change in this particular field. Architects, I don't know, in urban planning, environmentalists in environment, and especially lawyers and legal people who are interested in law. They can lobby for change, lobby for laws to be adapted. There are a lot of law bills that are still in the committees in the parliament and are still stuck there. You have for example, that in calumny, if for example you say a bad word about the president, you can face 3 years of prison. Can you imagine that? If you, for example, you say something bad about the army, it's like up to 1 year. It can be sentenced like with, for example, an amount of money, but not with prison. Okay.
Well, there's also community service. There's lots of different things that can happen. I mean, we're at the end of the day, we're supposed to be a democracy. We should have freedom of speech. We should be allowed to be able to voice our concerns. And if the population, go for it.
Sorry, so especially that is stated clearly in our constitution, freedom of speech, but the authorities are using this very old law to imprison the activists and the journalists.
Well, I mean, we do have defamation in the UK. We have defamation in America, and as a journalist, we're made aware how crucial it is when we are delivering a story or we are talking about a public figure, because at the end of the day, you can taint their reputation. You can cause huge issues. But when a population which rightly deserves to voice its concern and rightly deserves to voice how it feels against the abuses or the abuse of power, they shouldn't feel scared that they could be thrown in jail. So from this point of view, as you're saying, we're having lawyers work on lobbying these types of laws that are still being used or still in power. Even the kafala system is not necessarily a law per se. It's something that can be easily lobbied and removed as well. From what I've heard, we had Lebanon 961, the NGO, on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying this can be turned over in a minute. It doesn't necessarily need to stay in play. So, noting all of these things, Diane, what kind of role can the citizen, the national, the person who does feel like, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, I'm not an environmentalist, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
it's up to Ziad Abishakir to sort out the recycling, and it's up to Diane to tell the lawyers and everybody what to do. Well, no, it's not. What grassroots level is available and can be accessed in order for these people to start making these needed and necessary changes?
Okay, so first of all, there's a change of mentality that should occur here. People have to read, to research, to change their mentality. First of all, second, people should vote. Okay, they should exercise their right to vote, whether the legislative elections are going to happen early or uh, unfortunately, as scheduled, people have to vote. People have to vote in the mukhtar. People have to vote in the municipality. People have to vote in the legislative. Wherever this oligarchy and this ruling class is present, it has to be countered by people running for elections and by people voting. Because if you don't exercise this right, things will never ever change. And you see the level of, blank votes, or people not going to the polls because they think that, it's not going to make any difference. And maybe they're right, because the law it was tailor made in such a way that this oligarchy will succeed in the elections. But if we if every person changes this mentality and exercise their right to vote, I'm sure we can start by changing, let's say, 30 or 40% of the parliament. They won't have the majority, they won't have this veto. And before the the garbage crisis back in 2015, and the elections of the Beirut municipality, people didn't even know they could actually vote in Beirut municipality, and then they had a voice, simply because they were used ever since the 70s, that no, it belongs to this political party, and they are kind of, almost appointed. So people voted and almost made a change back in 2015. So things are moving, they're moving slowly, but we have to believe in change. As Milham Khalaf said, even if you think there's no hope, we have to create hope, because we cannot live without hope. So, and we can also start by being good citizens ourselves, like with the basic rights and obligations. We can stop littering, we can stand in line, we can respect the environment. The Lebanese abroad, are amazing. When they step outside of Lebanon, they respect the laws, they stand in line, they pay their bills, they everything. But when they, step into the Lebanese territory, it's back to chaos.
No, no, I was going to say it's just this point that you made is so valid. And every single person I spoke to that is trying to make a difference in this country re-emphasizes the same thing. Yeah, Yorgi Teiruz, the founder of Donner Sans Compter, Sarah Al-Yafi, it's just, it's crazy. And I'm half English and I'm half Lebanese, and I was born and raised outside of this country. I was born and raised in Dubai, and I'm not. Dubai is definitely nowhere near as better as Lebanon, or every country can be what it wants to be if the people want to do it. I was always in shock. I would get on the plane and come to Lebanon, and would be in Dubai. We're all standing in line. Everything is fine. We land in Lebanon. All hell breaks loose. Everyone's standing up on the plane. People are throwing things out of the window. In Dubai, we were as a child, I was taught not to litter because I would be for my parents would be fined 500 dirhams. It's now up to 1,500 dirhams if you're
And it
caught.
is enforced.
Yes, and it's
Very
enforced.
important point. But here you have laws, but you just give a bit of money to so the important thing is for law to be enforced.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm going to ask you a question. Is this something that the people should take into their own hands to start enforcing laws and creating these changes? I mean, we do realize that by doing something like that, you've completely rendered the Lebanese judiciary and the qada as useless. And someone like me, and I know there's a lot of people out there similar to me that have lost complete hope in the Lebanese judiciary. Believe, just like your mom's friend, there's going to be no accountability for what took place on August 4th, and not even just what took place on August 4th. We keep talking about that like that's so fresh, but all of the corruption, all of the stolen money, the list goes on. Like when are we ever going to see a difference? We waited 15 years for the special tribunal for Lebanon to make a decision on who assassinated the ex-prime minister Rafiq Hariri. Okay, the man is dead, and we still don't really have any feeling of an answer to what happened, and put him to one side. There's Wissam Al Eid, there's Gibran Twaini. There are so many people that have just been left murdered, and there is no accountability for it. So the fact of receiving accountability for the Beirut blasts to me seems inevitable. It's never going to happen. So what can be done? Like, what can we do? I know that when I was talking to Sarah Al Yafi a couple of weeks ago, she was saying to me, I'm working on a platform that, going back to your statement about voting, I'm working on a platform that is voter education for people to understand who they're voting for and how to vote and da da da. Okay, these platforms are coming out. How long do we have to wait to see it change? What can we do as a population apart from just changing our mentality? What are in our hand? What is in our hands that we can grab tomorrow and say, I'm going to focus on this and I'm going to try to make a difference here.
Okay, so first of all, initiatives like Sarah Yafi's initiative and everything she's been working for and fighting for are just amazing. And there are a lot of people like her fighting and trying to get people educated about things and enlighten people about things. Uh, Sophie, things after October 17 are definitely not the same than before October 17. Things are moving. I don't know if you realize this, but today the politicians are being scrutinized and are being very closely looked at. It's not like before, they would laugh and, tell you we are doing this and that. No, 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 no. Everybody is aware, everybody is waiting, so they can't just laugh at the people like they used to do before. That's one thing. You spoke about taking people getting their justice in their own hands. This is a bit of a dangerous statement because we shouldn't be switching from a corrupted and political justice to the justice of the people. This would lead to chaos and anarchy. So it should be an independent, like just in the middle, an independent judiciary that everyone can trust and that everyone should obey to and apply and respect and comply with their decisions. Now you were talking to me about the judges here. We do have excellent judges. We do have excellent judges, and now there's a like people are talking about the ICC and about if we can take this to the ICC. Let me tell you something about the ICC. So, okay, the ICC was established to, tell the murderers that they cannot, that they will be held accountable for their actions. It's, the people, not the individuals, not the states. The ICC investigates and prosecutes war crimes, genocides, aggressions, and crimes against humanity, which the Beirut blast would fall into this category. Now, Lebanon hasn't ratified the Rome Treaty establishing the ICC. So, had Lebanon been part of it, the ICC would have been automatically, it would have been prosecuting automatically and investigating the case, maybe. But Lebanon, since it's not a part of this Rome Treaty establishing the ICC, the only way for the ICC to be prosecuting and investigating is for a United Nations resolution for the Security Council under Chapter 7 that would ask the ICC to prosecute. And I think it's a very, a long and difficult way, especially, and it has to, international security and peace have to be threatened. So there's the condition that United Resolution is taken, the international and security peace have to be threatened, and the ICC doesn't have its own investigation, body. Like they cannot render warrant arrest. They are not, that an independent force. They don't have this independent force task. So they rely, it's complementary, they rely on the government. They rely on him for him to cooperate, which I think, I don't see how the government would tell, okay, please, ICC, come in, prosecute, investigate. We're gonna, render warrant arrest, and everything's gonna be fine. Especially that, as you mentioned, Hariri was different. It was a special tribunal for Lebanon that was established. And we waited 15 years, and 15 years later, and millions of dollars of dollars later, we are here with one person who has been sentenced, and I don't think it's enough, and I think it's disappointing, honestly, especially that there was a deal between the government and the special tribunal that no political party will be indicted. So it's disappointing. I don't want this, a scenario, a narrative to be repeated with this no words for this Beirut blast. I think we have good judges in Lebanon. I think uh, 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 politicians should just move, let the judges work. Judges should know that they are protected, by this High Judicial Council, and that they will not be punished or downgraded or maybe even, I don't know, assassinated if they render a courageous decision. Let I don't know. In my opinion, I think we should keep it national and keep the pressure on the street and keep the pressure on the street to put pressure on the judges and on the political class to act in a with a minimum of consciousness. Okay, you have victims, you have homeless people, you have wounded who are still undergoing surgery, and they're still, dividing the pizza to see what's in there for their for them. So yeah.
I think it is very sad to understand what is taking place and to understand that the solution is so simple, you know. And I think what the nice thing is that we are seeing, as you said, you know, since October 17, we have seen a change. We have seen things move. We have seen leaps and bounds takes place in certain fields, and one of them would be the elections at the universities, you know, the student bodies that have the secular student bodies, the independent students, and them finally getting to a place where they can be both recognized and adhered to and listened to. Now, I'm sure when you were back at university, I didn't have the pleasure of going to university in Lebanon. I went to university in the UK, where this whole discussion is not null and void because it doesn't take place. But I think I believe you were here. You went to USG, and you did try to run as an independent candidate, and you found it
And
very,
I
very
made it.
difficult. And I made it. Even back then, I still made it.
But it was very difficult, trust me. At the time, this is what I'm talking about, the change of mentality in every person, and not only in judges and activists. They're doing a great job. Like, at the time when I was in university back in 2005, I ran for the Student Representative Council. It was unimaginable, like to be a purely independent. There were parties. Either you had to be part of a political party, or you have to be supported by a political party. So people would go like, I'm running for political. Would you give me your support and everything? And now we see the secular clubs like totally independent and winning the majority, if not all, the seats in universities. So what is it if it's not a change? Okay, and these students, these secular like club member students, they should continue to work on themselves. So not only the pressure on the streets, which is very good, but also they have to work on themselves, on their mentality. They have to lobby. They have to see what's in there in this for them to improve. They have to organize, I don't know, conferences. Spread awareness.
Well, will they
Because
be allowed to do things like this, Diane, though? I mean, are they going to be allowed to do these things? We know how embedded religion is in separating and creating such huge gaps between the people. It's created fear among the Christians, among the Muslims. You have Muslims that you have the Shia scared of the Sunnah, and the Sunnah scared of the Shia. And between the
this is
Christians, you
the
have
problem.
the Maronites against the Orthodox, and it's insane. And we have 18 different sects in this country.
But
I mean,
now people are aware of this, Sophie. Now people are aware. We grew up where we were, taught to be scared at the Muslim, where Muslim were taught to be scared about the Christian, and possible, relationship with the neighbors. This is how they we grew, and this is how it was embedded, because this clientelism is what it's their, their raison d'être. It's because of this clientelism that they can still take this pie and divide it every time they feel like it's they're losing, a bit they start talking about religion and Christianity and Muslims, and people, and they are expecting people to say, oh, no, no, you know what, you're right, let's stay religious. But people, it's a long way, because I think it's like maybe the next generation will be able to totally reach there, but don't forget that in the constitution, this religious uh, 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 power
Segregation.
distribution, yeah, segregation, and it's clearly stated in Ta'if that in the member of parliament should be half Christian, half Muslim. This is supposed to be a transition, okay, and not a final model. And it's stated that a committee should be established in order to discuss how to eliminate and remove this religious distribution of parts. So it's stated in Ta'if. It's not supposed to be for the end of the days, So let's start by applying this, and and things are moving towards.
Just one last question, because you just enlightened me to the fact that that the Taif agreement, actually started off. This was all supposed to be a stepping stone. Let's say this is a way to start to create unity, to be able to bring people together, to show that each place, each religion or each sect had a form of representation. No one was left out. However, one, two, three, four. The end goal is to be able to be a secular government. So, okay, this has been running for how many years? I'm sure you're going to be able to clarify that, but for me, it's just a long time. So, have we reached a place where we have enough processes and change that has happened to be able to start to create this change, or is this really going to be left up to the youth, my children, your children's children? You're a mother of three. What country are you leaving them?
That's a very tough question, Sophie. Unfortunately, I think we shouldn't, lose hope, and we should create hope whenever we think that there is no hope anymore. We should continue to work on changing the mentalities. We should exercise our right to vote. I don't blame, for example, people who left Beirut, and it's justified, and it's totally understandable. But for the people here, we have to fight, and we have to continue to hope, and we have to initiate a change. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
I think the mentality currently of all those that are currently in Lebanon, myself and yourself, maybe excluded myself and yourself, are feeling they have been left behind. Instead of again changing your mentality and seeing it as, okay, you're going to go away there, you're going to support us, we need you, we need the backup of our Lebanese diaspora, we need the pressure that you can put on the out external governments to help put pressure on our government, to help highlight stories that our media won't elaborate on, that you can push through social and create a virality and be able to get that noise. However, us here, the few that are left, are the ones that need to pave the way, the ones that need to fight. Um, do What are they fighting for, Diane, and where do they begin? I think the problem in this country is بنقول يلا بدنا نحارب وبدنا نوصل ويلا ويلا ويلا. I'm speaking in Arabic because this is something I hear all the time. This is our country, this is our land, we need to fight. Okay, there are no established organizations helping put these things together. I think there was a glimpse of hope when I spoke to Sara Al-Yafi. I know I bring her up, but she's doing so much good work, a couple of weeks ago. And she said to me, I'm setting up a political platform where we're going to have voter education. Okay, so you're bringing these things up, but it is not, it's the youth that is here that has been choked, right? They can't even pay for university. I want to have hope. I'm a very positive person and I hate ending my podcasts on something negative, but I really, really want to understand, you know. I say to you, Diane, Anna, tomorrow I want to wake up, I want to open my door and I want to go and do something. What is it that I do?
Yeah, so first of all, Sarah Yafi, an amazing person, and always with her amazing energy and initiatives, and and her mind, always fighting for Lebanon and trying to do well. She's an example, okay. And with her platform, I don't know much about it yet. I've heard it on your podcast. She's establishing this platform to enlighten people about their legislative, the electoral law. It's very important. I mean, you should know how the law is established in Lebanon, which laws is better than the other, so that you are able to fight for it, and when you wake up in the morning and you don't know what to do, just be a good citizen, just I don't know, stop littering, stand in line, respect the law, and yeah, things are changing, things are not the same before, definitely not the same before October 17 and after October 17. And we have to hope. There's nothing left other than hope. And in the next elections, you, me, all of us have to vote. There's like this new law that was passed in October, like 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago, about the illicit enrichment, and where whistleblowers are protected, and where anyone can, say, you can go say this one is corrupted, and you will be, and the law, there is like a procedure that protects you. You don't have to pay money to file the lawsuit. Your identity is protected. So this illicit enrichment, and the principle of illicit enrichment has been enlarged, because there was an old law who just now was revised. So you can go after not only the person himself, you can investigate his wife and children, and accounts, jewelry. It's included in the law, the gems, the stones, the estates. So this kind of law, you wouldn't have dreamt of it, wasn't for the revolution and the people's pressure. So yes, we have to continue doing this, and I hope that with under this law, we will see people indicted, and charged.
I didn't know about that. Thank you, Diane, for bringing that up. It just goes to show, no matter how much negativity I'm going to throw at you today and poke at you today, you're going to have an answer for me. And I really appreciate that. And that is why you're on my show, to show
Right.
those that who have this negative thinking. I'm not a negative person per se, but I'm here playing devil's advocate. I need to speak for those that don't speak for themselves and that do sit in their houses and say, okay, but there are several things you can do. And I'm going to, everything you say to me in the house, which is negative, I'm going to throw at my experts to show you that there is an answer, that there is a way, and that there is a chance for change. And you need to give it the chance. If you keep saying no, like you said, we're never going to get anywhere. This is a grassroots movement. It is from the ground up. It's from the youth. It's from those who are experts, yourself, myself, Sarah Al Yafi, Ziad Abishakir, Yorgi Teiruz, everyone who's trying to make this difference. We can set these platforms for you. We can try to smash these doors down and get them ajar, but it's for the youth and it's for those that are coming behind us to labbit al-bab, as you say in Arabic, and make sure that this change is going to take place. And this can only be done with what you keep saying is hope. If there is none, create some. So Diane, thank you so much for being with us today. I know we had a couple of technical issues, but it's all been fixed. And thank you for taking the time. I just want to say to our listeners, if you've enjoyed what you've heard and want to hear more, we're an NGO and a crowd-funded platform. So please head over to www.levantex.com. You can pass a monthly fee or just donate once. Every little helps. Keep us going and keep the content independent and free of limitations and people telling us what we need to say and how we need to say it. So, Diane, again, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you, Sophie. Keep up the good work.
You too. Keep smiling. And if you would, those listening that want to know about Diane and see all of the videos that she's been putting up, please follow her on Instagram at Law with Diane. And she is highlighting everything that comes up. So every time there's been breaking news or something has happened, she is there on the ball, giving you clarification, creating awareness, and helping you educate yourself. So again, I'll say thank you. Wrap this up. Namaste to everybody. And let's just keep our fingers crossed and keep fighting hard.